I knew
HLS,
it.
that right there is the fifth level of understanding. I need you to make sure that you are quoting this right. When you use that term, we're talking interstellar. That's fifth level of understanding, sir.
Shush. Jaze, let me ask you this.
It's your boy Soso Juv, and we in the building. And welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast. Let me go ahead and introduce the cast of characters to my that way. I got HLS.
Habitual Line Stepper in the building. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, man? How you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Got my new setup or revamped setup, so I'm all right today. I'm ready. I'm ready.
You look like you're sitting in the toilet. What's going on here?
The acoustics are better. The acoustics are better.
I mean, a couple years ago, it was kind of like where was Waldo? So at least you're in like the same spot. So, like, we're happy about this.
Consistency.
There you go. And to my that way, we got the worldwide man of mystery, the Logical Genius.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another show. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes. And welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast. The best kept secret in podcasting.
True.
In which we go ahead and uniquely bring on a guest, turn them into a judge, and they have to decide who the loser is and who is the victor. And we are going to get into our guest. But before we do that, what's the topic for this week, HLS?
Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. This is the most influential, impactful black movies since 2000.
Black movies? Wait, where did that come from in the title?
Did you just throw that in there? What's going
on? Black.
You know what? No,
we said black movies.
I already knew this.
We said black movies.
I already knew.
We said black movies.
Is this like an example of like voter fraud? Like, is this the equivalent of that? Like with ballot stuff?
Are you saying we didn't say black movies?
Logical Genius. What is the title for this episode? What is the topic?
Movies that left their mark on culture.
Movies that left its mark on the culture. And I can't wait to get into it because ultimately, one of the things as I was going through this process is it the culture, DA? Or is it the culture? What are we talking about? And I can't wait to introduce our guest, who is an award-winning filmmaker and visionary storyteller. Best known for his debut feature, EFC, which won over 30 international awards. As a director, writer, and producer, he blends creativity with business savvy, offering rare insight into building original work in a noisy world. Through projects like Genesis, our guest explores bold ideas with real-world impact, from original thought theory to societal trust. Please welcome to the My 5 Cents podcast, Jaze Bordeaux. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I've been looking forward to this for all week now, actually. You know, you guys are...
Yes.
Quite
man.
the bunch here.
You already saw by the intro, there's already conflict with this topic, which I already knew.
Nonsense.
I already knew. Movies that left its mark on the culture. Okay, so HLS has already put his spin on it. He's like, it's black movies. We're talking about black movies. I just want to remind you, Jaze, that the title of the topic for this evening is Movies That Left Its Mark on the Culture. And let me start you off with our icebreaker, which is, Jaze, what is your superpower and how's it assisted you in your journey?
Well, I'll start with one thing. I could tell you if I had to be a superhero, it might be the Flash, right? Just to be able to move as faster than light through time and through, I sometimes people say Superman or Flash. I'm like, Flash, he moves through time, right? But in real life, my superpower, I would say, is my patience and focus, period. Just to be able to have the patience to see things through and the focus to build the momentum. Something I took for granted, I think, for a long time. But my wife pointed out to me, she said, one of your biggest assets is the level of patience you have to see things through from concept through fruition, and the level of focus you give each thing to actually get step to step to step to step to step, right? And essentially, I know sometimes people will look at individuals or groups, and all of a sudden it feels like they came from nowhere, and all of a sudden there's some kind of overnight sensation. But realistically, we know there's no such thing. There was probably a very long path to get to where they had to go, which probably required a lot of patience, right?
Yeah, so I want to piggyback on that. So your debut feature, EFC, wins over 30 international awards. I'll tell you, we've been doing this for 4 years. We've won 0 international awards for this podcast here. So it's like that overnight sensation piece. You talk about patience and focus. How much did that play in the part to the success of EFC?
It was everything. I largely say first and foremost, people will look at EFC, but they don't see the projects that didn't get off the hard drives before that, right? And you can look at EFC, and it's been a project I say I've been living with for a long time, just because of the level of challenge that we had with it from the very first time when we announced it. And we have distributors telling us, well, a women's mixed martial arts film will never sell. To getting interrupted with COVID. Once we wrapped production, actually during production, we had so many difficulties in terms of some of our talent getting sick. We're in Canada, and if you talk to any filmmaker and they talk to you about challenges, probably the number one or number two things they're going to point out is we got challenged by weather, right? And we definitely had that. I think one of our biggest production days was on perhaps the coldest day ever in the history of the country, that got the most snow ever in the history of the country. So it just so happened that the studio we were shooting in, the entire HVAC system went out, which never happened. A lot of challenges that we can go through, which would probably make the story of the film maybe more interesting than the story of the itself. But then persevering through that, and the challenges with COVID, which presented a lot of obstacles, not just for me, but the industry as a whole. It had to the industry had to transform during COVID, and it did. Just to look back to see how it happened, where we are, and the things that happened. So you had to either evolve with it or you got left behind, right? And to the point where we were finally able to release it. So you can go from concept to the point where I'll say we signed a distribution deal and it was released. It was about 8 years. And so one of the things I like to tell people now, and I know it's not a popular thing, if there's anything you want to do, it takes time. But with focus, you'd be shocked what you could achieve in a year.
Fair.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, guys, 8 years. We're halfway there. We're in year 4. We're halfway there, guys. We just got to, we got to work on the focus part.
Let me take it back and say, like, where did your love and passion for filmmaking come? Like, when did you realize, like, this is what I wanted to do as an adult, right? And like, what obstacles did you face kind of pursuing that?
You asked some really, really good questions. So to answer your question, it happened in 2 phases. First and foremost, obviously, I entered the industry as an adult. So I didn't grow up thinking that I would be in the business of filmmaking or anything of that magnitude. I actually come from more of a finance background.
Wow.
A completely different arena, but the skills also served me in this arena, right? So for me, particularly back in somewhere around, what was it? I mean, it seems like forever ago. I don't know. You guys probably remember 2008 when the world was falling apart. Seems to happen every so many years now, right? But yeah, the world was falling apart, and had decided just to move in a different direction. And I always say destiny called me, because I literally got the most unusual phone call from somebody I didn't know, to this day, I don't even know if the person exists or not, but it was just a call from a filmmaker from somewhere in Alberta who said, "Hey, I need some help raising money for a film slate." And I'm like, "Why are you calling me? Like, I can't help you, dude. You're calling the
You,
wrong guy right
you
now.
think
I
it
don't
was a
know."
scam?
Yeah, like
No, I mean, it wasn't uncommon for a call like that to come through, considering where I was coming from in terms of the finance world. But
mhm.
I knew nothing about the film world, and I was not. At least I didn't realize at that time that I did have connections to it. I just didn't know anything about it, but it lingered in my mind for a while. Weeks turned into months, and then 3 months later, it's just hanging in your thoughts. It's like, I got to go figure this thing out. Like, why did I get this call? And I just leveraged my networks and contacts and went to just discover the whole process, right? Um, the business side of it. How do these things get made? And I spent a lot of time just exploring and discovering, to the point where I realized that there was an opportunity. And it takes us to 2010, and I thought the future. I was looking towards 2021 at that time, and I said, you know what, the future looks like it's going to be more on streaming. That was right around the time where Google was buying YouTube. Actually, they were two separate companies, or two separate deals, and it was very obvious that this was going to be the future. And essentially, you'd have these platforms competing with each other for content, and they're going to need original stuff here, and just to keep subscription bases going. And it was very obvious at that time that content or IP would be the future. And so my path got solidified there, in terms of preparing, for the future. I knew
HLS,
it.
that right there is the fifth level of understanding. I need you to make sure that you are quoting this right. When you use that term, we're talking interstellar. That's fifth level of understanding, sir.
Shush. Jaze, let me ask you this. You mentioned all the rise of streaming services and everybody's looking for content. Coming from your perspective, from a directorial perspective, it's great in a way because everybody's looking for content, and creators could have these now paths and avenues to have their content be shown and consumed. On the flip side, I also think, and I don't want to shit on anybody, but when I watch some Tubi films, that it seems like the quality isn't up to par, so to speak. Do you think the rise of streaming services help the industry in terms of creators and talent? Or do you think it hurts the industry because we're just putting out just trash and seeing what sticks? It's like the competition just maybe isn't there.
Yeah, I do feel as though the industry got oversaturated, right? Obviously, it's a money thing. You have
Yeah.
platforms like Tubi that are advertising based, so they just give them the content, right? Now, what's interesting is some of the films you're talking about on Tubi, they have an audience. So on one perspective, it's like, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd. There's so much content. It's sometimes you feel like it's watering down the quality stuff, because there's a lot of really good stuff out there that nobody really knows about, or they don't know how to find it because they can't dig deep enough. Netflix has a huge catalog of independent films that nobody knows about, because you got to really dig deep in
Big.
there to find
Mhm.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the same token, I talk to distributors, and I hear numbers, I see numbers, I hear reports, and sometimes I'm just shocked. And I'm like, well, I guess there is an audience for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even some of those films you're alluding to, you'd be surprised
They're doing numbers, huh?
they're doing numbers, and which speaks to the fact that, okay, there is a market segment that actually likes this, right? So if you can create the content to service that market, more power to you, right?
It's a niche. It's a niche.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
niche.
you know what? I kind of want to piggyback off of HLS's question, but take it a little bit differently. So we spoke about the oversaturation. We have these streaming services. Is this, and I guess let me get to the real crux of it, short form content. Is that the cancer of films? Like, because the attention span is decreasing year by year. Um, Movies, like we'll say, I mean, and that's its own paradox with Marvel and what it's done and maybe oversaturated, and people aren't going to the movie theaters like they were before to check out these blockbusters because short form content is just snap, gets my attention, and then I move on. So is short form the slow death of filmmaking?
I disagree. I've heard the argument, and I'll tell you why I disagree. Simply put, obviously, short form content is rewiring the audience, especially the younger generation. So what do? With film, you can adapt to the market. So essentially, there's a way that we've been telling stories in film for over 100 years, right? And it's been tried, true, tested, proven, all of that good stuff. But what do you do when the audience is starting to change? You got to adapt a little bit. And so maybe the way we've been telling stories in long form or in film, I believe has to change as well. And we've been experimenting with that too. But I don't feel as though it will take away. I just feel like on the flip side needs to adapt and adjust and reposition and just cater to the market that's doesn't want to wait 30 minutes or 45 minutes for something significant to happen in the film, you know, especially when they're used to something significant happening every minute on their phone. So the old formatting of screenplays and storytelling, I just feel like maybe needs to evolve to uh, the new audience. Let's just call it for what it is, right?
Yeah, case in point, and I saw this article the other day. I have not seen the series because it was just the other day. But there's a Netflix series called Kaleidoscope, in which the episodes aren't numbered. It's actually by colors.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it was
you
a good
can,
series.
yeah, you can
You can
watch
go whatever
red
order. Yeah.
in whatever order and it'll still be comprehensive and make sense, which really brought intrigue. Like, wow, it's not in sequential order. I can get all these perspectives and still get a story. So it made me quite interested. I was like, okay, this got to be the next thing that I watch for sure.
Yeah, and there's probably no one way to do it. There's probably a whole lot of ways to do it. But if you just stay so rigid on the old way, and not that there isn't a place for that still, there is, but there's just so many ways to try something different and take risks and take chance and just see what catches, right?
Yeah.
But essentially, that's ultimately what I believe is happening. Obviously, you're going through your phone. There's something significant, literally, in the world we live in today. Every not even 5 minutes, every minute, something significant is like just going on, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, it never stops, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you expect them to kind of sit through a film for 45 minutes with nothing really happening? Right? Um, and of course, they're going to get bored.
Hmm.
And that's when you see them in the theaters, just looking at the screen with from the side of their eyes, scrolling through their phone. I mean, I've literally seen it, because it's like, case in point. I'll give you a perfect example. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Mm.
Tarantino's film.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was 3.5 hours theatrically. I feel
Hmm.
like it's a film that you probably needed to see theatrically, but it was 3.5 hours. I'm from the old school. I'm fine. You can do the whole build up with me all the way till the end with the big payoff. Not a problem. I can invest in the characters and all of that. So I sat through the film. Obviously, it was a huge investment in the characters, building up, building up, building up, building up. And then obviously at the end, you get all the significant stuff going on, the payoff to it. As soon as the film's done, And I had noticed at the side of my eyes there was like a younger group. I saw phones, like backlights and stuff. The minute the credits started rolling, they stood up, and these girls, they were so frustrated. They threw their hands up in the air. Why did that have to be 3.5 hours? That could have just been 90 minutes. Like, are you kidding me? Right?
That's how I felt about the first Lord of the Rings when that thing came out. Like, I was like, wait a
Really?
second. Yes, the
Oh,
very first one. All
I
of
was
that
in
story
tune.
built.
I was in tune the whole time. When
Oh
it was over, I
no.
was like, "It's done already."
Oh no, I was like, oh my gosh, this could have been nice. So maybe I was working my way into this new generation that we have here. But you spoke of significance, Jays, and I think that that's a perfect segue into something significant or maybe insignificant for one of us three coming up next. So, HLS, please, I'm going to give you an opportunity to redeem yourself. What is the topic for today?
The best black movies that
Oh my
impacted the
God.
culture.
I can't.
That was
I
the
can't.
assignment that I was given.
This
I
is
can't.
why you stay losing.
This
This
was the
is
assignment
why
that I was
you
given.
cannot
Wait.
follow the assignment.
He can't
This
follow
was the
the
assignment I was given.
Oh, we have
But,
receipts.
but it doesn't matter. My list is fire anyway, so it doesn't even matter. My list is still going to be fire.
Okay, so Logical Genius, please explain to our guests what's about to happen next.
All right, Jay. So, apologies for that. I don't, technical difficulties, human difficulties. I don't know what you want to call it, right?
Yes.
But you've heard the show. You're a listener, and we're gonna get to the really really fun part of the show where HLS, Soso Juv, and I are going to present to you our list of the top 5 movies that have left a mark on the culture over the last 25 years. You, being the expert that you are, will get to review our list and at the end of it, determine who has the best list. So you get to pick who goes first. After we present to you our list, you're going to decide who is in third place. We don't give a damn about second place. And then we want to know who the first place winner is.
All right. Well, if I get,
All right.
do I get? So I get to pick who goes first here. Okay.
Wait,
Sir.
but
I-
before we do that,
Okay.
HLS, I hope you remember this part. Can you explain to our guests what is the criteria for judging?
So, Jace, when in filmmaking, you gotta have a story, you gotta have a character arc, you gotta have a beginning, credits. There's all these things that make a film a film. There's a criteria to it. For this show, there's none of that.
None.
You
Nada.
might choose me because my list is creative and it's for the culture.
Oh gosh, you might choose me, Jace, because I used to actually work in the film industry.
Okay.
You might choose me because my list shows a lot of patience, and we talked a lot about that.
Okay.
But at the end, whatever you decide is really up to you. But now, you're right. You get to choose. Who do you want to hear from first?
I have to start with HLS.
Oh,
Must start.
sir, all I have to say is please be prepared to be underwhelmed. Be prepared.
Listen. Chase and I already have a bond. We're already here. So just sit back, relax, and let me run my list. So, Jace, at number 5, I have this film that was the highest rated film in BET history. And that's the New Edition story. It left its mark because it was a resurgence of the group, of the culture. It launched the career of Woody McClain, who now starred in the Power series, is now being called one of the up and coming leading young black African American actors in the industry. So that was my number 5. Number 4, have this. We talked about independent films. This film wasn't a high gross movie. It didn't do huge numbers, but it was the first starring role of probably one of the leading men in Hollywood right now by the name of Michael B. Jordan. Fruitville Station. It's the first pairing of Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. And that pairing is so important in today's culture, and I'm going to get to the significance of why later. But number 4, Fruitville Station. And number 3, this movie was impactful for me. It probably my favorite black rom-coms ever. Me and one of my best friends nicknamed ourselves Dunny from this movie, Brown Sugar. It mixed love, it mixed music, and so many inside jokes. And there's one scene that was impactful for me. There was a scene between Tay Diggs and Nicole Ari Parker where they were playing pool. They were talking about ending their relationship, and she said, "Do we give it everything we got?" And that stuck with me because I now adopt that same line, that same motto in my relationships, and I could walk away saying, "I give it everything I got." And number 2, I have this movie won Best Original Screenplay uh, from a black director, first ever. It spawned catchphrases like "the sunken place." That movie's number 2. Get Out. Uh, it retold horror films from a very distinct perspective. It wasn't, the psycho killer with the mask and people running in the forest in the dark. It was a new kind of horror, and it played on society and culture, which I thought was super impactful. And number 1, I'll call them dynamic duo, came back again. Highest grossing movie from a black director ever in history, Black Panther. Again, Ryan Coogler. Again, Michael B. Jordan. There was at the time where some films, period, they don't show black people on the poster overseas because they don't think it'll sell. This movie sold, and it sold out the wazoo. Number 1, Black Panther. And that's my 5 cents. Who do you want to hear from next?
Soso.
In the building. Oh man, I can't wait to get to cross-examination. But I tell you, boy, whoo. But before that, this is my 5 cents on movies that left its mark on the culture. And at number 5, I have Love and Basketball. Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens, Alex Morgan, Servando Carrasco, Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe, sport power couples. And there was no greater power couple on the big screen than Monica and Q. Love and Basketball, great movie, definitely left its mark on the culture. At number 4, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. We talk about Training Day. I mean, the meme of Denzel that's viral, and then I won't say the N word, but that meme, but really the impact is that it further accentuated what we already knew, which was Denzel Washington's greatness. That he did win that Oscar, and the impact is providing an example for the new age black actor, such as Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman, who actually gave credit to Denzel in shaping him as an actor, Lakeith Stanfield, it goes on and on. Training Day was important for that piece. At number 3, this movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it dealt with conflict on all levels. It put racism right in your face, and it was just a great conversation starter. And I remember this being played out in colleges. I was a little bit after, but I know my sister was like, "Oh, I'm about to go see this movie." And that movie is Crash. Great film, impacted the culture. At number 2, this one right here, this movie started a $2.5 billion industry and sparked a revival of reality TV. And that's Kim Kardashian's sex tape. Kim Kardashian and Ray J started something, and look at what it has evolved to. You cannot deny the impact of the Kardashians. And at number one, I have Brokeback Mountain. You don't get Moonlight without Brokeback Mountain. TOK can no longer do the Chi Chi Man. It was part of the beginning of this woke culture that Fox, just can't can't even say woke correctly, and cancel culture. That came at the beginning. The eye opener was Brokeback Mountain, and that, my good sir, is my 5 cents on the topic. What you're about to listen to next is a dissertation on nothing. Go ahead, Logical Genius.
Jeez, you know what? I take it back. HLS, your list was fire. Someone just give me a lighter so I could burn the hell out of that list because it was trash. Soso Juv, I'm surprised by Soso Juv list. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Soso Juv likes to say, my list is about me, right? It's connected to me. So I'm curious about Brokeback Mountain, but that's another thing to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
But Jace, here's the list, right? Movies that left a mark on the culture in the last 25 years. And this show is, this show's about family, right? And there's a movie that came out in 2001, and it 25 years later, 24 years later, still going pretty strong. And that movie is The Fast and the Furious. I mean, it spawned 10 movies with 11 coming out, I think next year, over a span of 24 plus years. Like, I don't know what franchise, especially a movie franchise, that sustained that consistently with new movies almost every year or every other year. It ignited the car culture. Like, the car culture was always like an underground thing, right? It was always like, oh, look at these goofballs or whatever. But then it became mainstream and it became popularized, and partly because of Fast and the Furious. It made it cool to have these races, even though it's not really cool to have races in the middle of the street. Trust me, in New York, I've seen this on the GWB and all that. It's nonsense, but I don't condone it. At number four, this movie is I think is very relevant today, and the movie is Wally, right? So the movie Wally, it's a Pixar movie, it's an animated movie, but look at what the themes touch. The themes touch on. They touch on climate change, which is still significant today. It talks about consumerism, which is really, really relevant today, and it also the theme around the dangers of over reliance on technology, right? With AI in the mix and all of these technologies, you talked about it earlier about zero patience or less patience. We're so glued into our devices on TV, particularly our phones, that we're disconnected now from like socialization or normal socialization, I guess normal to us because that's how we grew up, right? So that's number four for me. At number three, being Asian American, I have to throw in this movie. It won an Academy Award, but the movie is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It touches on LBGTQ plus experiences, particularly in the Asian American culture, which isn't often talked about. It talks about people questioning their existence. It talks about immigration and the difficulties with immigration, all significant topics today. So number three is Everything Everywhere All at Once. At number two, I got a movie that HLS also has on its list, and ironically, this is number two. It's Get Out, right? The movie touched. It had when that movie came out, everyone was having conversations about the movie. Not that it was a horror movie; it was done well as a horror movie, but it was about like how it explored modern day racism, right? That again still relevant nowadays. And at number one, you know, Jace, you talked about 2008 being a significant year for you, right? You talked about patience and you talked about longevity and putting the time into it. But you can't talk about that without talking about Iron Man. It sparked a genre of MCU movies that lasted 10 plus years, right? The affinity. It's been, I agree with Soso Juv, like it kind of got watered down in our earlier conversation. Like those movies got watered down. But those first 10 years, people were dedicated. Like people dedicated 10 years of their lives to kind of be a part of this culture. And it was embedded into our culture and made a mark on everyone. Everyone has seen a Marvel movie, everyone has enjoyed or hated a Marvel movie. It's made billions of dollars over the last 10 years. So to me, I don't know of other movies that where you were so committed to seeing these movies, that you committed yourself, your personal, your personal life, your professional life. People skipping school and work to go watch these movies. So I think Iron Man to me is number one, and that's my list.
All right.
So there you have it, Jaze. What's going to happen is next week, we're going to have a little bit of cross-examination where we get to pick some holes into these lists, and then you have to make the decision of who's in third place and who's in first. But until then, this is our 5 cents. Peace.